What's up, guys? This is your friendly neighborhood Extreme Spidey Guy here, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review of 2019's Doctor Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining, directed by Mike Flanagan. So, how was this made? Well, Warner Brothers began developing a film shortly after Doctor Sleep was published in 2013. Writer producer Akiva Goldsman wrote a script, but the studio did not secure a budget for the film until the box office success of the 2017 horror film It, also based on a novel by King. Flanagan was hired to rewrite Goldsman's script and direct the Doctor Sleep film. Flanagan said he wanted to reconcile the differences between the Shining novel and the film. The filming began in September 2018 in Georgia, including Atlanta and the surrounding area, and concluded that December. Doctor Sleep held its world premiere at the Regency Theater on Los Angeles on October 21st, 2019, and was theatrically released worldwide on October 31st, 2019, and in the US on November 8th. The film received generally positive reviews from critics who praised Flanagan's direction and the performances of the cast, especially Ewan McGregor, Ferguson, and Curran, but criticized its lengthy 2.5 hour runtime, grossing the $72.3 million worldwide. Its performance at the box office was considered a disappointment compared to the other King adaptations released in 2019, It Chapter 2 and Pet Sematary. So, what's the story for this movie? Struggling with alcoholism, Dan Torrance remains traumatized by the sinister events that occurred at the Overlook Hotel when he was a child. His hope for a peaceful existence soon becomes shattered when he meets Abra, a teen who shares his extrasensory gift of the shine. Together they form an unlikely alliance to battle the True Knot, a cult whose members try to feed off the shine of innocence to become immortal. Sorry. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? This movie would have to be one of the most underrated sequels I have ever seen in my life. Ewan McGregor definitely nailed the performance as the adult version of Dan Torrance, and I also do love him as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars prequels. Rebecca Ferguson definitely nailed the performance as Rose the Hat, and Rose the Hat was definitely a great antagonist. And I also do love Rebecca Ferguson as Ilsa Faust in Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, and Fallout. Keely Curran definitely nailed the performance as Aberstone. Carl Lumbly definitely nailed the performance as Dick Halloran. Zahn McCalloran definitely nailed the performance as Snakebite Andy. Bruce Greenwood definitely nailed the performance as Dr. John Dalton. Jocelyn Donahue definitely nailed the performance as Lucy Stone. Cliff Curtis nailed the performance as Billy Friedman. Robert Longstreet definitely nailed the performance as Barry the Chunk. Kirill Strucky Ken definitely nailed the performance as Grandpa Flick. Alex S.O. definitely nailed the performance as Wendy Torrance, and you can see like flashbacks of Shelley Duvall from The Shining in the film. Zachary Momah definitely nailed the performance as Dave Stone. Jacob Tremblay nailed the performance as Bradley Trevor. Henry Thomas nailed the performance as the bartender, and Henry Thomas nailed the performance as the bartender. And you can also see flashbacks of Jack Nicholson, and Lloyd was played by Joel Turkel. The music is definitely awesome as always. The Easter eggs are definitely awesome as always in this film. Like you can see like Looney Tunes and stuff, and Dan's flashbacks as a kid from like The Shining, and like him and Abra definitely have great chemistry in the movie. Excuse me, and there's also some flashbacks from The Shining about like, and you can see like a wave flooding blood and stuff. Like I forgot to say in my Shining review, and and Dick Halloran's also in the movie. Just to let you know. So the film starts off when Dan Torrance is still traumatized from his family's 1980 ordeal at the Overlook Hotel, but is guided by the ghost of Dick Halloran to capture ghosts in the Overlook in lick boxes. By 2011, he has become an alcoholic to suppress his shining. After moving to a new Hampshire town, he recovers through Alcoholics Anonymous's set up by his new friend Billy Friedman, which Dan also has great chemistry with Billy as well, and becomes a hospice orderly, where he uses his shining to comfort dying patients who nickname him Dr. Sleep. Meanwhile, the True Knot, a cult of physicists led by Rose the Hat, extend their lifespans consuming steam, a psychic essence releasing by torturing and killing those who have the shining. In 2019, the True Knots are starving, and as steam have become increasingly rare, they torture a boy to death for steam. A young girl named Aberstone, whose shining is even greater than Dan's, senses this. She telepathically alerts Dan about the murder, but Rose senses Abra in the process. Rose projects her cautiously across the country and infiltrates Abra's mind, but is physically injured by a psychic trap set by Abra. Rose sends the remaining members after her for steam. Abra informs Dan about the True Knot, although he is initially skeptical about stopping them. He changes his mind and recruits Billy and Abra's father, Dave, to help. They successfully kill most of the group except Rose, but Billy and Dave are killed, and Abra is captured by Rose's partner, Crow Daddy. Dan shines into Abra and saves her from Crow Daddy, killing him in the process. Dan brings Abra to the Overlook as a last resort, believing it will be equally dangerous for Rose. He starts the hotel boiler and explores the dormant building, awakening with his shining at the same time. He has visions of his time at the hotel. Rose arrives at the Overlook Hotel and overpowers Dan in a fight, but he saves himself by opening lock boxes in his mind and releasing the Overlook ghosts. Drawn by Rose's power, the ghosts overwhelm and devour her before turning on Danny and possessing him in a bid to try and make him kill Abra. After a brief moment where she cuts through his possessed mind. He tells herself before the hotel overcomes him again. He goes to the boiler room and regains control. The hotel can deactivate it before he passes out. Dan sees a vision of himself as a child being comforted by his mother, Wendy. Abra escapes. The Overlook burns down, and the authorities arrive. Sometime later, Abra speaks to Dan's spirit, assuring him that she is fine. Dan confronts Abra, telling her to shine on and not to hide her gifts from the world. She shares to her mother that she has been conversing with Dan and her deceased father that she is okay. Hour later occurs Mrs. Massey, the ghost of the bathroom in the Overlook Rooms 237 in her bathtub. She confronts it and closes the door it closes the door behind her. Now, I also do love the flashbacks in this movie, and it's still scary as always, and you can still see like stuff going on. You can still see like stuff from like The Shining in this movie, like the two twin sisters and the ghosts as well. And the music's still awesome as always in this movie, and the flashbacks from The Shining are definitely awesome in this movie, and they're definitely a good throwback as well. Now, are there any bad qualities I have with this movie? Absolutely not, and here's how I'm gonna rate it. I am going to give Doctor Sleep a full solid 10 out of 10. So, tell me your thoughts on Doctor Sleep. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's underrated? Do you think it's overrated? Just let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I'll see you all later.